there's so much power in knowing your people and knowing who you're trying to serve or who you want to serve. Because if you don't, everything else is going to fall. It's not going to be optimized, right? So that's the number one thing you got to do. And also really understand their desires. So it's not just like their pain points, like what do they really desire to be? Because high ticket buyers buy off pleasure, they buy off desires. They're very motivated by that. So really understanding where they want to go and what is motivating them as far as that. So that's number one. Number two is you need to have a plan for getting in front of the right people. And so you can have your messaging down. It could be super tight. You could be talking the right way, but if the right people aren't seeing it, it's going to fall flat.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome to Legacy's Journey Season 3, where we talk about creating what outlives you. I'm your host, Cameron Williams, owner of Kinley Consulting, where we focus on strategic financial growth for marketing agencies so that they can live the dream life they deserve and not be a slave to their business through CFO and consulting services. Now, y'all, we in Season 3. All right, so Season 1 was kind of getting our feel for it, right? Season 2, we focused on $1 million agencies. So Season 3, I'm like, I just need to connect with more people. We've done that. We've gone to conferences, made some good connections. So now these are people that are coming recommended, people that they're tagging like you need to talk to them. And so, I did a little bit of research. We got Miss Jackie Noke on the line. Tell everybody what's going on. How you doing?
Hey, everyone. Happy to be here.
And so, people are saying like she top notch, like she up there. She working with some of your favorites. So Miss Jackie, and I love the name because that's my grandma's name. So I'm cool with everybody named Jackie. Tell the people your name, the name of your company, and a little bit of your story and how you got started and what you do.
Yeah, so my name's Jackie Nolke. I own a digital marketing micro agency is what I call it because we're very small and boutique. And I started 9 years ago. So I've been in the high ticket marketing space for 9 years, been running meta ads for 9 years, which makes me ancient in this space. And I was formerly a teacher. I was a preschool teacher who was suffering from major burnout, underpaid, couldn't barely pay my bills, overworked, stressed, all those kind of things. That's kind of the typical story for teachers that end up in marketing. And I kind of fell into it just by seeing ads. And I was also at the same time getting my doctorate in leadership. And I was taking a marketing course and I was just like, this is so cool. There's so much freedom and power once you learn marketing. You can do so many different things with it. So that's in a nutshell.
Okay, so notice she was in a different profession, made that switch, and now she's been doing this for 9 years. So, all right, now you're very specific. You said a micro agency. Give the people what that means in case they're like, what is that? Aren't you just an agency?
Yeah. So, well, actually, I've even pared it down because of AI and things, and we're able to run an even leaner business now. But I have just like me and 3 other people. So very small. It's not an agency where I have, 10, 20 people working with me. It is me and 3 others, and we're able to get everything done for our clients. And so we run ads. We also write all of their copy. We help them with their messaging and all that good stuff because, as you know, you talk to a lot of agency owners, but I found that just running ads was kind of a disservice because there's different parts that need to be optimized to make it all work together and get those really, really juicy results. So we're able to do all that. And of course, with the help of AI, we can move a lot quicker than we used to.
Okay. So ads, but the extra stuff that makes it optimized, good to use, etc. All right, now tell us about this journey. So you said you were a school teacher. You did this course. So tell us now, I know, are you married?
I am married. Yep.
All right, so you had to go to Bay and say, babe, this teaching thing, I couldn't. I think I want to start my own business. He says what?
He actually was super supportive because first of all, I was making $40,000 a year. We lived outside of Chicago. And that was barely cutting it. And so he was like, anything that you might have a chance at making more than this, go for it. Because he also knew I was just extremely stressed of all that good stuff. And so literally at the time when I quit, we lived off our student loans because he was in his doctorate as well. And so while I was getting started, I was taking out the max and loans, which Don't recommend unless you have to, if you're listening. But we did that just so I could have support ourselves. We could eat while I was getting my agency started and all that good stuff. But yeah, he was actually really supportive. We've both been very supportive of each other's entrepreneurial journeys for sure.
Okay. Now see, and I've been there where you living off that student loan because you making a little bit, but you like, is that access check gonna clear yet? Because we need that to pay up, whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
So okay, so he's all for it. So now we're in year one. Tell us the realities because we know what social media say. Hey, you take this course or you come get this coaching, and you're gonna go from 0 to 20 clients, paying you 5K each in your first 6 months. Tell them the reality.
Yeah. So year one, I made somewhere around $20,000. So I was actually making less than I made as a teacher, but I was falling in love with it. I was way happier. Stress was down. And I was starting to gain confidence that I really could produce results for the few clients that I had. And so it's every year I grew, but it took me 3 years to hit the 100K mark. So I definitely was
Ooh,
not an
okay.
overnight success. I've been in 9 years now. I'm in, much higher level now, but it took me 3 years to get any kind of substantial income. And so I always tell people that for sure. I'm like, this is not, most people are on this online space are not an overnight success. It does take building your brand, building relationships, these things, and really being confident in that you could deliver what you say you're going to deliver. Because as you know, people don't show up in the way that will get those conversions when they're not super confident in what they could get.
And I like that you said that. I hope y'all caught that. It took her 3 years to get to 100K, not 6 months. I mean, are there outliers? Can some people do that? Sure. But I think it's so important to paint this picture because, again, everything is about micro, like super fast feed. Let's microwave it. You're going to get there 6 months. All you got to do is put in the work. Sometimes it's not related to putting in the work. There are so many different factors. So if you can't kind of go through those things you had to learn, because I know for me, there was like mindset issues I had based on my childhood and how I viewed money. There's sales training, there's putting together offers. So kind of walk us through what led you to get there and then the big growth since then.
Yeah. So I have a lot of mindset issues with money as well. Actually, my parents were both pretty successful, but they were like workaholics, like never home, that kind of thing. And so I was telling myself the story that, if you have money, it's not good in a way, because you're not there for your loved ones. You have to abandon the things that matter to you just to hustle all the time. And they both grew up poor. And so they were like, hustle, hustle, hustle. We have to make this money. And so they were overcoming that in their own way. So I had a lot of, kind of struggle with that. And I think I kind of did hold myself back a little bit because I was scared of success and just like how to manage money, do anything with money that I hadn't had. As I just said, I was on student loans when I started this. So just, newfound money. But as far as really, getting to that 100K part, it took honing in on my craft, really, because I think a lot of times people come in and they want to jump to these big results, getting the big money, but they don't really have the skill set to get there. And again, like I said, that is translated into how they're showing up in their marketing, and people could feel that, so they're not like super confident, and it feels spammy or whatever. But then from the 100K on, I was showing up every day. I was running my own ads, so I'm visible constantly. And just really also just stepping into my passion, which I'm super passionate and nerdy about marketing, and showing up and showing people that. And that's how I just started to explode. And also focusing on relationships. Like I focus strongly on relationships through advertising and through organic as well. And that took me to a whole nother level.
All right. So I hope y'all got that. Notice she said she grew in confidence, just becoming better, putting in the time. And then she focused on relationships because in our world, relationships is currency. All right. So now we're out of the first 3 years. Babe, we did it. We hit our first 100K year. Now let's transition from that was year 3, you're in year 9. Tell us what those leaps looked like at each stage of the journey, because as you know, you have to evolve into an even different person to go from 100K to 250 to 500, etc. So talk us through what that looks like.
Yeah, so I would say it's a roller coaster. So, you start going up, you are hitting another income level, and then maybe we always grew in the amount of money we were bringing in, but the problem is we also grew big time in the money we were putting out. And
Uh-oh.
so
My thing. Here we go. Money.
So this has happened. I've been through at least two cycles of this to where we overextended ourselves. We overextended hiring people on. And what happens is, as you know, when you have all these expenses, and your business becomes very expensive to run, if you have a couple dips, sometimes, there's things going on, election years, different things that go on that can impact the way we're doing business and the way we're bringing in sales. And if you're in a position where you have to pay your team all this money, money is just going out, going out, going out, but the money coming in is becoming less. It's a sticky situation. I've been through that twice, and it sucks, but we've come out of it both times. I think I've finally learned my lesson, and I am much better about where I'm allocating resources and where I'm, spending and all that now. But it took two really hard lessons to get to where I am now. So I would just like anybody listening, that is normal. Almost every agency owner that I talk to behind the scenes, because I'm friends with a lot of them, will say this, that they've been through something like this where they've overextended themselves. So just be careful. Just be careful and mindful of that, and have savings, have enough savings to where you can pay your people if you have a crappy month.
See, now when I say it, everybody look at me like I'm wrong. This is one of your fellow people saying, hey. Now, one thing I want you to go back to, if you don't mind. So you talked about getting overextended. What are maybe like three things now that you learned, since I wouldn't say you mastered it, but like you got a pretty good feel on what not to do so that you can avoid it again, or to help the next person to avoid? Because this is common. We've seen it in our clients where we have some that are leveraged pretty, payroll contractors is maybe like 40%. We got some where it's like 80% of your money goes to the team. And I'm just like, can we please fix this? So, what would be some examples of like, or give us three suggestions of things you would share on how to not get overextended? Like, what are some things that maybe you as an agency can do?
Yeah, one is using the talent that you already have instead of just going out and hiring new people. Like, who do you have? How can you allocate their skill set? Can you get them trained? Can you, because it's very expensive to bring new people on, that kind of thing. So try to use the people you already have. Two is, if you're going to invest in something, invest in things like systems that are going to save time. As far as like team members, you don't even have to bring on a team member for that. You could just hire someone, to come in your business, look at your systems, create your SOPs, refine them, that kind of thing. So the work that is getting done faster and more efficient. And so again, you're not having to add more team members. The other thing is, make sure like that, go a couple months before you hire that team member instead of directly when you think there's a need. So I've done that before mistakenly. I'm like, oh, cool. We just brought on all these new clients. Now I'm hiring two new ad managers. 4 months down the line, things change and things like that. And it's like, we're hiring too fast. And I'll give you an extra bonus one is to be better with your hiring process. So for me, I was always felt kind of in a rush, and I'm just hiring people quickly without truly vetting them. And what happens is then it's not their fault. It's really my fault as a leader, because I've brought on people who aren't necessarily up to par with the work I expect and don't have the experience I expect and that kind of thing. But that's because my hiring process was lacking. And so I take full responsibility for that. But that's another thing, that make sure you have, what you want. It's very spelled out, and you're asking them the right questions before you make a hire.
Mm. All right. Y'all know the drill. Make sure you ask for what you really want. All right, y'all know the drill. We still take notes just because it's season 3. Now, did y'all get that? How to not get overextended. Use the talent you already have. Invest in systems that will save you time. Hire when there is a true need. Be better with your hiring process, and make sure you really vet them so that they can do what they say. And then make sure you ask for what you really need. I think that is so good, because like even in our case, like we've been hiring a lot just because of the massive growth we've had. And it's like you can be nice and like, oh, I don't want to ask. But to your point, no, you need to know, hey, when we're in tax season, for example, can you do extra time? Versus I don't want you to think, oh no, everything's cool, we're real low key. No, because when tax season is here, baby. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So I love how you said that. Okay, now let's keep rolling with this. So okay, we're not overextended anymore. We got the right things. You talked a little bit about systems and AI. Let's jump into that because we know everybody's talking about AI right now.
Yeah.
But ironically, I think I saw some study. I don't know if it was Mark DeGrasse who published it or something, but they were saying only like 7 or 8% of the country is actually using AI, which means there's a ton of people not using it.
Wow. That is like I just can't comprehend that because I'm in it every day. But
Right. And to us, like our industry uses it all the time,
yeah.
but to the rest of the world, at best, they're using it like a Google search, maybe.
Mhm.
Talk to us a little bit about if you're not an agency, why you should be using more AI.
Yeah, well, one thing it's really gotten good at is just helping you brainstorm. So it's almost like you can use it as someone else on your team, or this is the idea, this is the promotion we want to do. Ask me questions to help me refine this. Or, it can act like it's your coach really, and help you kind of refine things, help you come up with ideas, strategies, things like that. Some of the stuff it puts out isn't that great, and obviously you have to be discerning with it, but it's really good to at least get that first idea, and then you refine it with the knowledge, and then also like we've trained it really well to be really good at even like copywriting with the way we like to write copy. So we use what I call my Michelin messaging framework that is specific for getting high ticket buyers ready to buy and raising their hands for our clients. And so we've been able to train it to write the way that we know works to attract high ticket buyers. And so it does take time, and yeah, you got to play around with it. You got to get your AI skills down, but there's so much potential. I find it really exciting.
All right. Biggest thing she said, brainstorming. Brainstorming. And I know I ever did that because I had some ideas and I was like, wait, all my marketing friends said I can just go to chat. So, okay, that's good. And I like how you said you can't just take everything word for word. You got to refine it, ask it the right questions. Okay, let's go here. Now, one of the things I saw on your page, let me pull it back up so I say the name right. You said you had a high ticket ecosystem. Tell us a little bit more about that because, of course, as you know, everybody's like, oh, I'm high ticket. I want to sell 5K, 20K packages, but there's a certain way you have to do it. Talk us through what that looks like in reality versus just throwing a dart, picking a random number and being like, why is it not selling?
Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is for the high ticket ecosystem is I always say this is for true experts in whatever field you're in. So I don't think it's ethical for people to just to be like, oh, I want to sell a 5K offer and I don't know what I'm doing. This is my first time ever doing this. So if you're a true expert, then this is for you. If you're not, go work on your skills, get your skills up to where you are a true expert, and then you can start asking for the high ticket prices.
Well, wait, now you got to define what is a true expert, just in case they're like, no, I'm an expert. I've been doing this for 2 years and I took 3 courses.
Yeah. Are you consistently getting the results you say you can for your clients? So can you do what you say you can do? Basically, consistently, not just a one-off. Hey, I did this one time. You've consistently been able to do that. If you can do that, I'll say you are an expert at that point. If you're consistently bringing the results and doing the transformation, whatever that is that you say you can do. As you know, in this space, people have been burned by people saying they can do something and they really can't. So we want to be ethical marketers and do this if you can. If you really can do it, you can use the ecosystem. But the ecosystem is, if you think of an ecosystem, it all works together, right? It's all working together to create a more powerful output. And so a funnel is kind of, what the funnel looks like. An ecosystem is always working. It's always working together. And so with my ecosystem, it involves, of course, my Michelin messaging. So the clients, have their messaging down. So they're talking to the right people in the right way. It is their copywriting that we nail. it's their social media presence as far as written copy for like Facebook and LinkedIn. We focus on those platforms because that's where high ticket buyers hang out more. And then we also obviously run their ads. So we want it all working together to create a better result instead of just, we're going to approach the cold traffic and the warm traffic, and then, they come in and buy. The people that are in our clients' ecosystems are seeing them all over the place. They're omnipresent, and we're nurturing them in a bunch of different ways. That's it in a
Okay.
nutshell.
Okay, now let's go into that just a little bit more because a lot of people are like, well, no, I mean, I need that. I can only focus on this. Talk to them about the importance of everything working together and going in the same direction, because some people may have like a fire social media, but like maybe your branding's off, or maybe your social media is good, but your messaging can use work, or maybe you got all of that, but you don't have the funnel piece. Talk to us about the importance of it all being optimized and working together.
Yeah, it's not like you can't make sales if you don't have everything optimized. Obviously, people out there are making sales every day, but you're leaving a bunch of money on the table. So what's happening is people come into your world, you lose them. You're not still nurturing them through a lot of this is automated system to nurture them, and they never hear from you again, right? And you're not showing up because there are different types of buyers. There are certain buyers will buy right away, right? I'm a fast buyer. There's people that are fast buyers, but there's also people like my husband who's a slow buyer, and he has to take his time. He's going to think about it more and all of that. Well, what happens is if he saw your brand, he's like, cool, I want that. And then doesn't see it again. He's going to go with the next brand that he sees. Right. But during his time frame that he's deciding on this, during this 3 weeks or whatever, you're showing up in his feed consistently with messaging that is appropriate, with the emails that are appropriate. Maybe they come and check out your social media. All that's in aligned as well. And that's how you pick up those sales. So that's it in a nutshell.
You see what she's saying? Just in case y'all don't know, because y'all not experts, you don't want it to just be in one place. You want it to be where, as he's thinking about it, you're hitting him from all the different angles. I love that. Okay, let's keep rolling with this one. So now, I know you work with a lot of people. I know you don't have to name drop them because, we want to protect that. But you talked about downgrading your team size. And a lot of people, I think, incorrectly, are like, oh, AI is coming to take our jobs. And see, she just said it. She down and slimmed her team size and all of that. Tell the people that is not why it's not coming to take your job, but how it's actually helping your team to grow, to facilitate reaching the goals you want it to be.
Yeah. Well, first of all, if you're in in the online space at all, like it's kind of like when the internet first came out, right? And there were people that were very resistant towards the internet. Well, it didn't go away, right? We're here. AI is the same thing. No matter what you feel about it morally, y'all ain't going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It is here. Your best option is to learn how to use it. And to anybody that's working with you, also learn how to use it. So your operations run so much more efficiently. And it doesn't replace everything. It doesn't replace human connection, which is a big part of how I do advertising. Is I help my clients use advertising to develop relationships, but it will never replace that. It will never replace human connection. So that part of your business needs to stay that way. But as far as some things internally that you can do with AI, why not? Because it's going to make your systems run so much smoother and faster, and that's going to affect your bottom line.
Okay. So see, y'all don't have to be scared. You just need to prepare and embrace and utilize the tool. All right. Now you kind of talked a little bit about this. Let's start talking back to numbers because we were talking about making sales and offers and things of that nature. Now, of course, I got to ask you, just because clearly the numbers guy, what are some of the cool things that like your CFO or your accountant is helping you to do to like better grasp your numbers and grow your business?
Yeah, well, one of the things was keeping me in check with spending.
That is
Because
something we do have to do. Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
so they actually did help me kind of refine that and like be like, okay, you need to reel this in a little bit. Like you make good money, but you just keep on wanting to spend, spend, spend. And so that has been, super helpful. Obviously, I would say that's the biggest thing, really. It's just keeping me in check and reminding me, being like, you have enough resources to do what you're wanting to do, and not, feel like all of a sudden you have to have all these things. And it's good just to have a check, to have someone else be like, okay, yeah, do you need this or do you not need this? And a lot of times I don't. I'm a quick decision maker, which in a lot of ways is really, really good for our business. I'm able to move really fast. That's why a lot of the reasons why I'm able to make a lot of progress and also just get the results I do for my clients. But at the same time, that means I make quick decisions with big money moves, things like that, sometimes I need someone else to say, hey, no, don't do that. So I would say that's the
Right.
biggest thing.
Or we can do it, but can we just wait a little bit longer?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I got it. Okay, okay. Now,
Basically running a lean business because there's been times when I haven't run a lean business and now I just have so much more profit and take home, like so much more. So my life feels better all around.
and see, let's talk about that. So, talking about profit and take home, I think a lot of people that are agency owners, they're just like, oh, look at how much money we bought in through Stripe. And that's cool to know gross revenue, but going into the take home piece, talk to us because you've been on both ends. You've had it to where I had a lot of team members, so my profit was probably lower than I liked, versus now I've kind of flipped and reversed that. What are some of the things that you maybe had to do in order to get from one extreme to the other?
Yeah, I would say really tracking money, knowing where I'm
Tracking the
spending.
money. Ooh.
Yeah, because yeah, Cameron, there was times when I would be like, I would talk to my financial person. And they're like, "Okay, cool. How much did you spend this month? Let's see." I'm like, "I have no clue. Did not know at all. Hadn't even looked at the bank account." Um, and I know that's shocking, but I think part of it is again like this um uncomfortableness with money or something and like not wanting to see the reality or things like that. So I think having a financial person on your side helps with that so much because they hold you accountable and it's not actually scary once you actually just do it. That's what I've figured out. Like this, it's like doing it is not scary. It's the when you push it to the side for too long, that's when it becomes scary. So yeah, there's having me or just looking at my how I'm spending money, it's so empowering. And so now we run at pretty much like almost like a 75% profit margin, which is amazing.
Ooh.
So and that's good because I've been at points before where it's like 10% and I'm not even like we've gotten ourselves in positions before where it's like we're barely paying ourselves. And so
Mhm.
now it feels good to run the lean business so that we have, so much profit.
Okay, now let's go there because I think we also have to make sure we illustrate the whole picture. To be fair, and I don't mind you, I don't know her, she's not our client, but typically there are reasons for why you want to run lean and have a lot of profit or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have to always remember as a business owner, yes, 75% profit margin is amazing, but she may have completely different goals than you have. She may be like, hey, like my husband is making, because then you say, I think he's a doctor.
He's a chiropractor. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's making his big fancy chiropractic money. We may not need to take on as much or have as much money just sitting there. So I can leave a lot more of that in the business and just use it as needed. Whereas somebody else, maybe you're single and you're 24, 25. Well, hey, I'm trying to hurry up and scale this. I don't have kids. I'm not married. So I'm willing to take a lot more of that chunk, maybe bring it down to 30% and reinvest that back in to grow quickly. So always be careful and think about what are my goals? What stage of life am I in? Do I have a partner? What are they bringing and contributing? What is our goal? All of those things play a factor. So I don't want everybody to think, yeah, let me hurry up and go do what she did because she may be in a completely different stage of life. She may have completely different needs and all of those things. So I think it's super Important to take what she said about, I've been at the 10% where we could barely make payroll, which could have been at stage 1 or 2 or 3 in her journey, versus where at year 9, hey, I've learned, I've grown, I've redone my offer, I've redone my pricing, and now I've optimized for where I am comfortable and cool with it being. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I will say too, like the longer you're in business, you get so many referral. Like if you run a good business, you're getting the results for clients. Like a large part of our business is referrals at this point, just because people love working with us. So that obviously cuts way down on your expenses as well. So, but that takes time to develop. That takes time to grow up to that point. So
The time. There you go. All right, let's keep rolling.
mhm.
Now, let's go back in time a little bit. I like to call this like quick response. If you could go back to your college or high school self and you know everything you know today, like to this second, and you only got 30 seconds to go back and talk to young Jackie, what you're going to tell the high school or college version of yourself? What would you tell her?
I would definitely say you're smarter than you think. I always way downplayed my intelligence and what I was capable of. You're smarter than you think. Keep going. It will get better. That's what I would say. Yep.
Okay. Okay. I like it. I like it. All right. Now, since you worked in marketing a lot, let's talk about some of these people that you work with. You don't have to name drop if you don't want to, but tell us as the person who sees the behind the scenes and helping them to get their marketing correct.
Mm-hmm.
What are maybe 3 to 5 common things that you see that every business needs to make sure they have in place? We'll keep it that simple. So like if we were to come hire you, you're gonna say, Cameron, you need to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 need to be worked on, or that's what we're gonna fix for you.
Mm-hmm. One is you need to have a very, very, very deep understanding of who your ideal clients actually are. And I know that everyone's heard that before, but what I find is most people actually don't. And so when we're going deep into, I interview them, it's almost like therapy as far as their business when they first come in. Like we spend 90 minutes just talking and I'm asking them questions and seeing how they respond to all this. And there's usually a lot more to uncover there. And so there's so much power in knowing your people and knowing who you're trying to serve or who you want to serve. Because if you don't, everything else is going to fall. It's not going to be optimized, right? So that's the number one thing you got to do. And also really understand their desires. So it's not just like their pain points, like what do they really desire to be? Because high ticket buyers buy off pleasure, they buy off desires. They're very motivated by that. So really understanding where they want to go and what is motivating them as far as that. So that's number one. Number two is you need to have a plan for getting in front of the right people. And so you can have your messaging down. It could be super tight. You could be talking the right way, but if the right people aren't seeing it, it's going to fall flat. Right. And so you need to have a plan for getting around or getting in front of the right people. This is where strategic advertising comes into play. That's really powerful. But then also there's ways to do outreach and things organically to where you're bringing in the right people in. And then the third thing is, again, relationships. Relationships are everything in 2025 and building trust. Building trust is essential and you need to do that through your marketing. And so there's different ways that you can build trust, showing that you're a true expert, showing who you are and letting people see that so that they can make that decision to work with you, because it is a big decision when someone is deciding to spend 5,000, 25,000, whatever, working with you. And so you got to be able to build that trust.
All right, y'all heard the gems. What you need to know, your client's needs and desires. And I love how you specified and said high ticket buyers buy off pleasures and desires. We're going to come back to that one. You said make sure you have a plan for getting in front of the right people and build relationships and trust. Now let's go back to this high ticket one, because I think in theory, everybody says, I want to be a high ticket person. I want to, all my deals, nothing less than 5K or we're not taking them.
Yeah.
You've been on both sides to the point where, like I've seen the people who think that, but your stuff is not set up for that versus the ones who are. What are the difference between those two people? If the people who think I should be able to do that, but I'm coming to you because something's wrong, versus the people you've already worked with and are capable? What are you seeing as those differences, whether it's mindset, money, whatever?
Yeah, I think a big part is mindset. So let's just say you are an expert, you're getting the results you say you can for your clients consistently and all that, but you have a big block as far as showing up, as far as talking about your results, as far as being visible. And there's a lot of things. Childhood trauma is a big one for a bunch of us that we have to overcome, as far as, being, children are seen and not heard, all that kind of, environments that can be really that can really block us, really hold us back from wanting to be visible. There's a lot that goes on. And one thing I tell people, because I'll have people come to me and really want to blow up their brand. They're smart, they know what they're doing, but they're just not there. There's these huge blocks. And I will recommend therapy, you guys. Therapy can really be powerful. And I know I did that. I had my own blocks when I started out, and just working through the stuff that's holding you back from being visible is everything. Because until you're comfortable with that, it's going to be really, really hard to get those results that you're looking for.
Okay. Mindset and therapy.
Yeah.
Mindset and therapy. Um, let's do it the opposite way. So if you're that person who's dealing with the mindset, may need some therapy to work through those from the business side, because I know you're gonna be like, I can't be your therapist, so I can't help you.
Right. Yeah. No.
How do we get them to transition, at least on the back end and the technical side, to where they now can say, hey, it's gonna be 10K, and they don't blink? They're not like having a hard. How do we get them there from your perspective, whether that's the marketing, the ads, whatever, the funnel?
Yeah. I mean, I think that your offers, once they're proven, like once you have proven offers and you're bringing in, if you're able to convert cold traffic, that builds confidence too, because you're like, okay, cool. I have, this person's never heard of me. They came to my webinar, they've converted. So you start with something that it's going to feel good for you to pitch, right? Like, don't start with something that you're not going to be able to get the words out on your pitch. So if that's $2,000, cool, go for the $2,000. If it's $1,000, cool, start there. What's going to happen is every time you make that pitch, and you're going to feel more comfortable to go up. You've gotten the results for that person. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm a badass. Like, I did something amazing for 1K. That's wild, And so the next time you're promoting, it's like, cool, 2,500. And then you work your way up. Don't feel like you have to. It's not just like some arbitrary number that you just have to do just because it's quote unquote high ticket. Work your way up to where it feels good and it feels in alignment, and you're going to be able to talk about it with confidence.
Oh, I like that. Okay. Here you go. Proven offers that convert cold traffic. I love that, because sometimes you get hyped trying to sell something that you ain't really tested. And it may be a great idea in theory, but the cold traffic may not go for it. So I love that one. Mm-hmm. Pick something that feels good for you to actually pitch. Because I think, like you said, sometimes they're like, oh, if I sell this, I'm being icky and all those things. Which goes back to the mindset thing she already told you about, and why you need your therapy, why you laughing, get on your therapy. Yeah. And then the last thing, I love this one, work your way up, because you always hear so many people talk about pricing, and it's arbitrary. Like, what's high to me may not be high to you, vice versa. So I love how you said start at 1,000, then let's go 1,250, 1,500, and then work your way up, versus I just started my business 2 months ago. I need 5K. Whoa, hold up. So I love that. All right, let's go rapid fire here as we work on wrapping it up. What are some things you do to connect with Babe and the family throughout the week? Because I know, like you said, you're about keeping the balance. We're not trying to drive ourselves to the grave. So, like, what are some things you guys do to connect?
Yeah, so we have breakfast together every morning. He actually helps me in the agency some too. So we have business meetings together too. But and since we're both entrepreneurs, we take off every Friday afternoon, go grocery shopping. I mean, that doesn't sound that fun, but go grocery shopping, go out to eat, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just spend time together and have goals that are in common. Not all your goals have to be in common with your spouse, but have some goals that are in common, so you're both working towards the same thing. It's a good way to feel very connected, I think.
I love it. Have goals that are in common. And I like taking off every Friday. That's a good one. How has your definition of success changed from when you started versus now? Because it sounds like we were very similar. Like at first, it was like Cam, just get the bills paid, get
Mhm,
groceries.
mhm.
Versus now, to your point, we're definitely blessed to not have to be there. So success looks a lot different now. How did that change for you?
Yeah, at first I just wanted to be I was in survival mode, just wanted to be able to pay my bill, like you said, groceries, rent, like all these things. But now and then so I got through that. I was, got through the survival mode, made my first 100K, that had my first 100K year and all that. And then it was like it became a rat race for a while. So for a while, it was like, oh, I got to make more. 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 And then I figured out that was broken. And that's not really what I want. I do live somewhat of a bougie lifestyle. I do like some of the bougie things. But um, again, like making our business more lean and having more take home and all that we've been able to develop, I have the lifestyle I want, and I'm way less stressed than I used to be. And I'm not just like, oh, I have to go to the next number. I have to go to the next number. I've actually been at the same number for the past 3 years, and I'm completely satisfied with that. So that's kind of the journey that it's been.
And I like that because we've heard some people come on here and they're like, I feel like I was more profitable and had a better quality of life running a $750,000 agency versus running a 1.5 million. I'm like, oh my gosh, this sucks. So I love that you were able to find again what works for you. That's what I was telling y'all. I already knew the fact that she could say we're keeping this certain profit margin. She already knows what she wants. She's already comfortable in our needs are being met. I'm not trying to build, the world's biggest agency. She was super okay with her specific story and what they're trying to do. That is so important.
Yeah.
Um,
It's less
we'll make
stressful
this the
having a
last question. Say
Oh,
that
I was
again.
gonna say it's less stressful having a smaller team because have had a bigger team at different stages. Honestly, for me, this is the way I like to run it. I'm very happy with the way it's running right now. We'll see if that and it might change. Cool. But um yeah, kind of downsizing the team felt good for me. So anyway, side note.
And see, some of y'all the opposite. Y'all like,
Yeah.
no, Cam, I want 12 people, 20 people, so I don't have to do a thing. Neither one is right or wrong. It's about what works for you and your life at that moment. Because it's going to change when you have kids. It's going to change when you get married. It's going to change when you're closer to retirement. So you have to find what works for you. So I like that. I like that. All right, last question. What has being a business owner taught you about yourself that you maybe didn't know prior being like the preschool teacher?
It's given me so much, like emotionally, mentally, it's given me so much confidence. I've grown as a person in ways that I never thought were possible. So I would not trade this journey for the world. Like it has been just amazing for me. I yeah, had a lot of anxiety back in the day and when I first started, and I've overcome like all of that. And I really think a big part of it has been pushing myself out of my comfort zone on a daily basis as an entrepreneur. And then just like realizing my capabilities, pushing myself and like realizing what I'm capable of has been so empowering. So love it. Love it. I'm so thankful.
All right, y'all. Y'all know the drill. Let's recap these notes. All right. Starting from the top. 9 years in the Facebook ads game. She was a preschool teacher prior, but she was like, this is not for my life. This is just not it anymore. Um, she mentioned that just running ads for your clients is a disservice because there's so many different pieces and components to making sure it's optimized to get them the best results. I loved how in your story you talked about in 3 years. That's when you hit the 100K. It wasn't in the first 3 months. I loved how we talked about the money mindset, about how you saw that your parents were like workaholics, which in theory is good because, like, hey, we had the money, but then those things that it can do to your subconscious of like, well, I don't want to miss out on life just from working. So maybe we do some self-sabotaging or we don't play at 100%, only at 80. So I love that you were able to identify that. You talked about focusing on relationships and growing in confidence. I loved how we talked about growing, or when you were growing, we kind of overextended with the team a little bit. But how do you not get overextended? Y'all need to get this one down because this is a major problem we see across the board. Use the talent you already have, invest in systems that'll save you time. hire when there's a true need, be better with your hiring process and make sure you like for real vet them that they are as good as they can and say they are. And make sure you ask for what you really want. If you really want them to be able to do whatever, then let them do it. Why use AI? We think that's pretty self-explanatory, but y'all can go back for that one. Ask what are your clients' needs and desires? Like, what do they desire to be? Because high ticket buyers, I love this, buy off of pleasures and desires. You need to make sure you have a plan to get in front of the right audience and make sure you're always working on building relationships and trust. Your mindset. I loved how we just talked about, hey, if you finding yourself struggling, you may have to, you may need a little therapy, you know,
Yeah.
and it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
hey,
Okay. Go for it.
I'm a fan of it, and like I said, I know people who've done it, and I've never heard one bad thing about somebody doing therapy
Mhm.
because there's so many things that we may have picked up along the way, or we interpreted through watching our parents, and they didn't mean for us to, but that's just what we thought. So that was awesome. How to get you to pitch to high ticket. Proven offers that can convert cold traffic. That is super important because cold traffic is not warm. It's just, I click this and I'm looking. Pick something that feels good for you to sell and then work your way up on the price. You don't have to start off with a 10K thing. No, start at 1,000, then 1,500 and work your way up. So, with that being said, tell the people how, if they want to work with you, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, the first place is I hang out on Facebook a lot. And so come connect with me on Facebook. On my personal page, just search Jackie Nolke. Nolke is N as in Nancy, OELKE. Jackie is JACKIE. And also, you can go to highticketmarketing.io and you can get on my calendar if you're interested in chatting about how we can help you.
All right. And do you got anything you want to like, any other link you want them to click? Like, what about the offer?
Um, what offer?
The one we talked about, the high ticket, let me say it right. The
Oh,
high ticket ecosystem.
yeah, you can also go to highticketecosystem.com. I actually just bought that URL today, so I'll be forwarding it by the time this podcast is live.
See what I'm saying? Like, come on, Jackie, tell the people.
You can also go to highticketecosystem.com and watch a free training on the ecosystem. So,
See, y'all, that's why you got to research your people because I don't want them to lose no money opportunities. So pitch your stuff. All right, y'all heard it from her. Please reach out to her. This is not somebody that's like, oh, this is her. No, people were recommending her, tagging her when we were asking, like, who should we have on? So this is somebody you need to connect with. This is somebody who you see hasn't been in the game, like, because this is the new hot trending thing, but they've been in it. They put in the time, they put in the work, and most importantly, she's comfortable in her skin. She knows the value she can bring to you. She knows that she that fine. So reach out to her. I'm sure she'd love to connect with you guys. As always, you can see that we're working on bringing you guys not just the best business owner, but the best people that are coming on willing to share with you their stories, their journeys, and how they got to where they are, and how you can create your own legacy by doing what's unique to you. So, with that being said, until next time, you guys take care of yourselves and stay safe. Thank you, Jackie, for coming on again, and we'll talk to you guys soon.